In our presentation, we will discuss the fifth inflection point, the push into standards and multilateral licensing, and Dolby's response to challenges of interoperability in 2000s. Could you go to the next slide, please, Greg? So in 2000s, with the introduction of internet, interoperability between divergent devices became a significant issue. Creating a monopoly on digital solution in every market was not a possibility anymore for any company. Dolby took this challenge by participating in the standards to create a common approach for interoperability between devices. By using the standardizing bodies, it helps to promote collaborative mechanism, and this leads to an innovation. However, from IP perspective, Dolby had to be careful to avoid any dispute. Dolby leaned on to broadcasting sector with proposed standards, and then it has found an area where there were not much activity at the time, which is the broadcasting sector transitioning from analog to digital. Later on, Dolby saw an opportunity in licensing out patents and formed VIA Licensing in 2002. Next slide, please. This was an independently managed subsidiary to pool relevant patent rights. As you can see, there are many companies who are contributing into this via licensing. It's quite big firms actually, including Dolby, AT&T, Vodafone, Google, and so on. The idea behind it was to ease the licensing process for the product makers in the sector. Since gathering via Licensing Corporation is a global intellectual property solutions provider dedicated to enabling innovation in partnership with technology companies, as seen here, entertainment companies or universities around the world. VIA develops and manages licensing programs on behalf of highly innovative companies in the markets such as audio, wireless, broadcast, and automotive. Nowadays, it's mostly LTE essential patents. VIA is wholly owned by a subsidiary of Dolby Laboratories, a company with more than 50 years of experience in innovation, basically. VIA's balanced and transparent patent pools help innovators to enter into innovative markets in the LTE fields with easily licensing the rights from a single source. Now, Elisa will focus on different trademarks of Dolby, supporting Dolby's strategy.
I just have a quick look at the trademark in general of the company and to the changes that have been through the years. So Dolby has quite a bunch of trademarks and almost 800, and those are the trademark that the company has actually, and there are in many territories such as China and USA, which just to have a quick overview. And the class obviously is the class 9, and the main characteristic is they are figurative and nominative. This is the basic overview. So Gregory, if you can quick jump to the next slide. And so I just had an example of the trademark now. And the thing interesting that has been pointed out by Thorsten even before is that right now there is not only the part Dolby, but also there is indicated the application areas such as, for instance, voice here. And this is right now we have the part Dolby, but also the double D, as we can see here. And Gregory, if you can switch, please. Thank you. And this is, I just wanted to point out the difference that exists now and between the actual strategy and what happened before. So in the at the beginning, before the 2000, there were almost 400 trademarks. And the characteristic is that basically there was this this figurative part that we can see here. So this is a quick overview of the trademark.
And I'm going to focus regarding patents and how they switch to follow the strategies they try to implement over years. So at the beginning, they were really focusing on chips and all the hardware parts. So here are two early patents they filed as Dolby company. It really focused on the integration of the hardware parts, and it was, as for any monopoly in the box strategy, it was really focused on the product itself, on the features that they want to implement and to license. And the other group already presented how it evolved over the years. And at the end now, they try to focus on hub monopoly to implement the technology into standards. We can see that around 2004, they start filing a lot of patents. They increase the filing of patents like hell. And that's the point regarding standards and hub monopoly. You have to create some proofs regarding your technology. So like this, they have to come for your patents. I mean, competitors have to go for your patents. The patents now are focused, the other group already said it, but they are focused on the interoperability and the digital age. So it's more about data management, codecs, kind of software things. It's quite different regarding the beginning of Dolby, and that's how they manage their patent portfolio and how they fill the patent now to follow the trend of the strategy and to implement it in the app technology.
Okay, so now I will present a company that might present some similarities to the strategy of Dolby, and in particular, we chose Qualcomm because in the context of this the adaptations that they've made to their strategy to address this inflection point 5, we thought that Qualcomm would be relevant. So Qualcomm was already presented, I think, by Group 3. It was initially semiconductor software services, and it's involved in wireless technologies. And he owns quite a lot of standard essential patents to enable wireless technologies, including 2G to 3G, 4G. So some of the similarities that we found, and many of them have already been identified by Group 3. So it's really an IP-supported business. It's supported by quite a lot of intensive filing. It was ranked the 5th PCT applicant worldwide in 2021. And he also has many of these patents, as already highlighted by Group 3, are standard essential patents. And in common with Dolby, it also follows a strategy by which he outsources or partners with manufacturers in some aspects. And this is some snapshots of what is the Qualcomm technology platform, where you can see that they have different interfaces to interact, for example, with wearable, mobile or automobile producers, so to integrate their technologies. So some of the differences that we found between Dolby and Qualcomm strategy. So I think Dolby has kind of as part of this Viva licensing. So there is a lot of interaction with other competitors to enable the distribution of their patents. The strategy of Qualcomm is somewhat more aggressive. It still licenses things on the front, but there is a number of concerns that their front rates are much higher. Their explanation is that their patents are more valuable, and there is quite a lot of legal disputes around this patents and the enabling of this of the technology and access of the technology. And in contrast with Dolby, that by partnering with the competitors allows manufacturers to integrate all of the technology. Qualcomm instead is licensing out its own patents alone, and basically licensing as bundles of standard essential and non-essential per application. And I think one other difference that was already pointed out is that different to Dolby, which is very much focused on sound, Qualcomm, by the nature of the interoperability that is enabled by 2G, 3G, 4G, has many more applications, so it has a larger scope of diverse portfolio. And that is all I had to say. Thank you.